We'll continue our discussion on the average case analysis of quicksort. So, having defined when exactly two elements are compared, so let's look at an array of size n. Now, after say one level of pass through partition routine, we get two subarrays. So, subarray A1 contains some elements and A2 contains some number of elements. At this level, if you see, if there is a comparison between AI and AJ, then it respects this property. Now you come over here, you choose this element to be pivot. With respect to this subarray, again if at all there is a comparison, suppose I take this to be Zi and Zj, then if at all we compare Zi and Zj, one of them must be pivot. So like that, if you proceed down at any point in time, you look at a subarray. If there is a comparison between a pair of elements, then either Zi is pivot or Zj is pivot. Okay. Now let's get into the analysis. We define an indicator random variable xij taking the value 1 if there is a comparison between ai and aj. It takes the value 0 otherwise, which means no comparison. Now we are interested in knowing it takes two values. On an average, what would be that? That is precisely weighted 1. The expected value of this is what is the probability that xij takes the value 1 times its value, and what is the probability that xij takes the value 0 times its probability. Its value is 0. Now, what is the probability that xij takes 1? What does that mean? With what probability AI and AJ is compared? Correct? So you can look at it this way. They will be part of some subarray, right? They are part of some subarray, which is why there is a comparison taking place, right? So you can assume that something like AI plus 1 and so on up to AJ. Without loss of generality, you assume the elements are appearing in some subarray. That could be AI plus 1, so on up to AJ. So in some sense, we come to a subarray. In that subarray, we find these two elements are present. I am saying the subarray looks like this: AI plus 1, so on up to AJ. Okay, there are a couple of things to note at this place. First thing is both AI and AJ must be part of the same partition, otherwise comparison will not take place. And if it is like this, so you start with n and then n becomes say n minus 4. On the other side there are 3 elements. We only compare two elements inside this partition. We only compare two elements inside this partition. We never compare an element here with an element here. That's the first thing. Second thing, inside the comparison is only between an element and the pivot. Suppose x belongs to this and y belongs to this, no comparison between x and y. That's the first thing. So there is no comparison between x and y. That's the first thing. And second, within the partition, the comparison is between element and pivot. There is no other comparison taking place. So this is something one should make a note of it. So they both have to present in the same partition. So which is why I've taken look at the partition containing AI and AJ, and there will be other elements, right? There will be other elements, they can appear in some order. We don't know, right? Because when we get the partition, they can appear in some order. So what I am doing is, I'm just for analysis purpose, I am arranging the partition in such way that it is AI, then AI plus 1, then AI plus 2, and so on up to AJ. In some sense, this one is sorted. This is just for analysis purpose. So I am not explicitly sorting. I am saying analysis purpose, you assume that it is arranged from AI to AJ. Why is this required? We will shortly observe why such a thing is required as part of the analysis. Okay. Now you can see this. With what probability A and AJ is compared is what we are trying to estimate. As part of that, we have observed a couple of things, and they both have to be part of same partition. Now, what is the size of the partition? What is the size of the partition? Because that we need as part of estimating probability, right? Which is why, because we don't know how many elements are there between A and AJ. It could be AI, AJ, this could be AI plus 1, this could be AI plus 3, or partition could be like AI and AI plus 3, AI plus 1 and AJ. And AI plus 2 can appear here or there. So when we get the partition from the recursive subproblem or from the previous iteration to this iteration, we don't know how many elements are there between this. So just to estimate that number, what I am doing is I am arranging the elements in such way that they are in sorted order without loss of generality. I am not losing anything by doing this. We are only doing this as part of the analysis. I am not changing the algorithm and so on. Algorithm remains as it is. This will help me to estimate what would be the size of the partition. We know AI and AJ are part of the same partition. That much we know. But there are other elements, right? There are other elements. So just to estimate them, I am doing this. Fine. So, and most importantly, once we bring pivot and then to its right, you will only see values greater than that, and to its left you will see values smaller than that. So there is nothing wrong in assuming that this subpartition is sorted as part of the analysis. Correct? Okay. Now let's get into the next part. Now the size of the partition is j minus I plus 1. there will be this many elements, right? Because we wish to know what is the size of the partition. For that we made this argument. So listen, out of j minus I plus 1 elements, AI is a candidate for pivot and AJ is a candidate for pivot. Correct? Which means, what is the probability that Xij is set to 1 as out of j minus I plus 1 elements, there are two elements satisfying the property, which means it is 2 divided by j minus I plus 1. This is our probability. Now what is the expected value? Expected value of Xij is 2 divided by j minus I plus 1. This also tells you that if the partition size is small, then probability is more. If the partition size is really large, the probability is less. And we are able to estimate because of this argument. Correct? Now what is the value of E of x? E of x is precisely the average number of comparisons. To estimate this, you bring possible values for ij and expected value of this. What is this? This is precisely summation I runs from 1 to n minus 1, then j can only take from this, it can go up to this, and expected value of Xij. Correct? I can take value from 1 to n minus 1, j can take from I plus 1 to this. What is this value? This is summation I is equal to 1 to n minus 1 and j is I plus 1 to n, and the expected value is 2 divided by j minus I plus 1. Now we just have to simplify this. With that we are done. That's rather straightforward. You can do a substitution or change of variable. Say I is equal to 1 and this. Take k to be j minus I. Okay. So this becomes, so take k to be j minus I. So then this becomes k is equal to 1 to n 2 divided by k plus 1. Correct? Now this one is harmonic series, right? So this will give you order log n, and with this we will get order n log n. So 2 by 2 plus 2 by 3, or you can take 2 out, 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3 plus 1 by 4 and so on, and you get order log n. That you get n minus 1 times, so which means solution to this is order n log n. So this says on an average quicksort incurs order n log n effort. So what is that we have done? First we asked when exactly two elements are compared. For that we brought in an integer random variable. Then we estimated the probability and we estimated the expected value of that. And to estimate the probability, we looked at with what probability A and AJ is compared. When you look at the partition, if we say they are being compared, then they both have to be part of the same partition. And without loss of generality, that partition, there will be other elements apart from A and AJ. And so those elements, I am arranging them such a way that A plus 1 and so on. With this you can estimate the size of that partition, which is j minus I plus 1. And out of that, because we don't know, why am I arranging like this? Because the partition that I get as part of recursive subproblem, it may be like AI, AJ together. To its left you may find I plus 1, I plus 3, or it may be some order. But A and AJ must be there for sure. And in that, when I say there is a comparison between A and AJ, it must be the case that A is a pivot or AJ is a pivot. Now, how many elements are there? For that, if you arrange them in sorted order, you can say j minus I plus 1 elements are there. Out of that, 2 elements are candidates for pivot. Probability is this much. And if you substitute here, we get the expected value. Then all possible values for indicator random variable, that is all possible values for I and j. You are asking with what probability or what is the expected cost of comparing the element 1 and 2. Expected cost of comparing 1 and 3, then 2 and 4, 10 and 6. Like that you look at all possible pairs and its expected cost. Once you look at the expected cost for all possible variables or indicator random variables, that will essentially tell you what is the expected cost of the underlying algorithm or the expected cost to sort A1 to AN. So that's precisely what we have done. On simplification, we get to see order n log n. So this is one approach. An approach where we estimate the expected number of comparisons. And we see that it is close to the best case, and in fact it is because of that it gets the name quick. For all practical inputs, its behavior is close to n log n. Through simulations and experimental research, people have shown that theoretical computer scientists have shown that quicksort behaves or the order of growth of time complexity, if you see, that is close to n log n, due to which it gets the name quick. But there is a larger message that this case study or this and insertions sort is trying to convey. Given an algorithm and given a computational problem and an algorithm, first identify the primitive operation, say comparison. Then if your focus is on average case analysis, what it says, define appropriate indicator random variable. That will tell you when exactly a pair is compared. Then once this is done, estimate its probability followed by expectation. So probability followed by expectation, that will tell you what is the expected cost of this, or weighted average, or on an average we take this much cost to compare a pair of elements. Then take possible values for this, that will give you the expected this. That's where you bring in this. Correct? And now if you estimate that, then we are done with our analysis. So this prime operation could be anything, and according to the problem and the algorithm, once you identify that prime operation, then it boils down to probabilistic analysis, wherein you define appropriate indicator random variable expectation and so on. So one should take this larger message and apply in other problems as well. For example, merge sort, best and worst, both are n log n, so average is also n log n. But supposing you want to estimate the average cost through this approach, how do you do it? One can do this merge sort is using a routine called merge routine that takes two sorted arrays A1 and A2 and output the sorted array A1 union A2. We know that minimum is min of m comma n and maximum is m plus n minus 1. Now, on an average, what is the cost of merge routine? So, one can estimate the average cost of this. Similarly, look at eat sort. When there is a violation, we invoke max EP5 to set right the property. On an average, what is the cost of max EP5? Fine. So things like that one can explore using this approach. And some of it we shall see through our assignments.